Well, hello to each of you. Welcome back to my channel where I've got a brand new video in my series, The Peripheral Perspective. A little bit ironic and yet not entirely unsurprising that I started working on this video back in the summer of 2023. And if you are watching this video right around the time of publication, you will notice that it is just past Halloween, November 1st, 2024. And so the joke is not lost on me, having been drawn to this template and the actual timing for all of the pieces, all of the different ingredients to fall into place for now to be the time to bring this to you. So the topic today is human design projectors, the nourishment of your craft. And while this video was made with projectors in mind, it is something that you are all welcome to watch. Maybe you have a projector in your life that you're more curious about or that you love, or just, wanting to know more about the projector process. You are all welcome. So just a little bit about me. My name is Melanie Halpert. In human design lingo, I am a 5-1 quad-right splenic projector, a perfected form alpha on the left angle cross of wishes. If you have no idea what that means, that is entirely okay. I am a highly intuitive messenger who is really here to offer something practical value to others in right timing. And I've got this pretty unique way, I guess, of seeing down into the core of things and connecting the dots. And now, being a certified human design analyst and certified living your design guide, this channel is part of my own experiment and a way to kind of pay it forward from all of the generosity that I received on my journey in the face of, in many ways, feeling really bitter about being breadcrumbed. So I was so fortunate, and actually kind of not only in honor of that, but also as a kind of a testament to the truths of the mechanics. Some of you might know that this September, Jovian Archive, the source of human design, the home of human design, they launched a new platform called Raw TV, which is kind of a dual-pronged offering, very interesting. Part of the platform offers something like $2,500 worth of original Raw Uruhu videos. It's like Netflix on demand for human design nerds. And the other side of the platform is it's this incredible growing community. And serendipitously, truly, along with my fellow analyst and colleague extraordinaire, Naraya Fox, we are invited to co-host live talk shows on the platform for the community, as well as question and answers, roundtables. So if you have yet to check it out, we would absolutely love to see you there. If you're not yet on the platform, we recently did an Instagram live, which can be seen on the Jovian Archive Instagram page. And in addition to Raw TV, just in terms of what I was saying before about paying it forward and just all of the generosity on my journey, I would never be where I am today if it wasn't for Lavina Archers, who is my human design education mama bird and just such a powerful mentor for me in my own deconditioning process. And with her years of mastery, with her years of study and instruction and expertise, she has pulled together the most incredible class. It's called Human Design for Business, Personal Success. All of this part of the new Human Design Mastery platform. And if you are watching this video today, there's actually going to be a free masterclass tomorrow. I will give details about that at the end of the presentation and more about that class as well. But this is going to be a 3-month journey that I will be on as well. So it would be really amazing to be among some of you there too. So without further ado, and with this time leading up to the global cycle shift in 2027 being so critical in terms of really mastering the way that we manage our individual energy. I look forward to sharing some of these insights with you today. So I wanted to dive in actually with a super important quote from Ra that is about projector empowerment. I've seen so much said about projectors that is so, it's just sad and it's so untrue. And it's things that unfortunately, if you encounter those things before you've really had a chance to see the beauty of what it is to be a projector, it could be really disheartening. And so in the words of Ra himself, to be a projector means that you do not simply take in conditioning. You take in conditioning that generates, motivates, and moves your process. It's not that you're dependent on the other. You are not designed to be dependent on anything. You are designed, however, to be in a world in which energy is available, and that's very different. This is what the invitation is all about. If projectors would trust in the power of their auras will pull them the attention, the recognition, and the correct invitation to the energies that they are here to recognize and to guide. So if you're a projector and you're watching this, I would even encourage you to take a screenshot of this quote, put it up on your fridge, put it up on your board, put it somewhere where it can really remind you that you're not designed to be dependent on anything or anyone. You're not, of course, our relationships with the other are very important, but not from a disempowered place, from an empowered place, from an aligned place. So this is really kind of, this quote is just such a cornerstone in terms of what I want to build upon with today's topic. Because it could be really easy for us as projectors to think that nobody cares, that they don't see us, and that we have to literally jump through hoops. It's like pulling teeth. And the reality is that actually it's not anything like that, but it can take a lot of time to really trust in that. And I guess there's something really comforting that can come from this understanding that we have an aura, an auric frequency. And I mean, this is not at all a new age thing. It has to do with our genetic predisposition. It has to do with the chemistry that is literally exuded from us. We have this chemistry that is designed to be noticed. We stand out. We do. We're designed to stand out to the right people. And no matter where you generate your chart, I mean, I will always encourage official software, either My Mechanics or My Body Graph. Those are the two official softwares. You'll always see the projector strategy is to wait for recognition and invitation. But something that is kind of left out, I mean, I don't think it's intentional, but it's something that we have to know, that recognition, that invitation, this is really meant to be organic in that it's not forced, it's not engineered, it just happens, it's effortless, it's easy, it's sweet, that it's fulfilling for us, and that it is mutual. It has to work both ways. So when we align to our genetic strategy, which is about waiting for that mutual recognition and invitation, and we allow our aura to do the talking, that's something that really, it makes it so that our life force can actually be broadcast. So all of those things that are colored in our design, that they can be broadcast undistorted out into the world, put into others in a way that is healthy, okay? And it's not all scrambled up. And when we're in alignment, we glow. We glow like a beacon for the right others. So if you've ever been in a position where you feel that it sucks to be a projector, that strategy and authority, all of that it's a limitation, I mean, I would say honestly, get messy with that, because this is not meant to be dogma. This is not meant to be arbitrary rules that you follow because Ra Uru said. No, like that is missing the entire point of all of this. And in fact, learning about it, studying it, but not experimenting with it, not putting it into practice, it's just mind candy that doesn't really have anything to offer you or anyone else in terms of benefits. So what I've discovered for myself, and I know I can only really speak for myself, is that this is something that can really set us free. It is not designed to be a limitation. It is designed to unlock us from what could be a very miserable and bitter life. It provides a framework for us to be able to move through the world with ease, and also to engage with forces, with people, with situations, invitations that are truly aligned with who we are. So one of the biggest things that I personally have been experimenting with, and I mean, I'm still a baby, I'm only just finishing up my first deconditioning cycle, my first 7 years. This December is going to be officially 7 years that I've been experimenting. And you know what? There are days that I feel like I literally just stumbled into human design. So if you yourself have been experimenting for a while and you find that sometimes things sneak up on you, you're not alone. You're not alone. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are people who, many deconditioning cycles later, there are things that still pop up. The one thing that shifts is, well, I would say the speed in which certain things can be recognized, and just the amount of awareness that there is surrounding things. But it's not a contest. It's not a contest. And especially for me with my undefined heart center, deconditioning is not meant to be a goal. It's not meant to be a goal. So yeah, so one of the biggest things that I've been working with, especially since the summer. So if you have any knowledge about life cycles, after the Saturn cycle, we enter into our midlife, which is the Uranus opposition. And I had my Uranus opposition this June, and I had a pretty epic closing out of my Saturn cycle. It is, I mean, if I ever write a memoir, man, like I don't know what goes into these incarnations, but it was really special. So yeah, there's just been so much on my radar in terms of ways in which I have invested my awareness that have not really served me, that haven't served me, and they haven't served others. And also, what is this relationship between the way that we invest our awareness and our auric frequency? So you can see here, and in terms of the images, and by the way, all the aura images in all of my presentations anyways to date, but today that you will see also, were created by my colleague Naraya Fox. And so you can see here, this is my body graph with this powerful, focused and absorbing aura. And so with that little star that's designed to kind of penetrate into the identity of the other, to know their overall frequency. And so I've got a battery behind the body graph kind of to illustrate this, what I like to call kind of like charging up of the aura, because like I said before, it's like when we're in alignment, we've got this glow, like we just glow so that the right others can see us. And so to the bottom right, there's this little, it's like a little caterpillar. When my sister and I were little, I think it was Mattel, this company that made toys, they had these little glow bugs, and we would have this ritual at night with these little glow bugs. We'd put them up to the light, and then we'd charge them up, and then when we shut the light, they would glow. And so how we invest our awareness, it's something that is either going to charge up that aura so that it can really be visible to the right others, or maybe not. And that piggy bank too is really just symbolic of, it's like, how are you using your awareness? Is it kind of putting money into that piggy bank, or is it frittering it away? So the question is, what and whom are you investing in with your awareness? Do you recognize and value yourself between invitations? So this is a really, 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 I'm going to say it again, really big thing, especially those of us who have an undefined heart center. Those of us also maybe who might have a heart center that is defined unconsciously. There can be such a struggle in terms of feeling like we need to prove ourselves to others. And anyways, you'll see throughout this presentation how it really ties in, but I'm seeing that we can get so, it can feel so good to get that recognition from another and to be invited into things and to feel loved and to feel seen and to feel included, that we can get almost addicted to that, or thinking that that is almost what gives us life or gives us purpose. And it couldn't be further from the truth. And for it to actually really unfold in a way that is healthy and aligned, it needs to stem from within first. That ability to recognize and value ourselves, no matter what is happening outside of us. So what happens when we expect recognition from others without recognizing ourselves? What happens when we expect other people to invest in us without being invested in ourselves? And this whole thing about, like, how do you treat yourself? What is it that you're taking in? What kind of environment do you live in? Who are the people that are surrounding you? What do you put into your body in terms of food, in terms of information? And this is not a judgment call, by the way. What we take in, each and every one of us is unique. And even though, yes, as a type, we have an auric frequency that is focused and absorbing, but at the end of the day, we are all different. And there's such a thing as differentiated nourishment. Some of you know already about primary health system, PHS, and also rave psychology, the 4 transformations, for sure something that is of monumental value as you go deeper into your experiment. But the surface is still where everything is at, and you have everything you need, even with strategy and authority, to guide you to the right nourishment to take in. And so there's this tech term called GIGO, which means garbage in, garbage out. And for me, as a quad right, I am here to be, and regardless of trying or not trying, I have the deepest receptivity, I think, humanly possible in terms of what is being taken in. And if any of you have studied about rightness, certainly about quad, having all arrows pointing to the right, your entourage, the quality of the consciousness of the people that are surrounding you is critical to what actually comes out of you, because we are designed to have things pulled out of us. So if you're surrounded by idiots, if you're surrounded by toxicity, that's what's going to come out of you. If you are in a really beautiful, nourishing environment with really intellectual and genius people, you're going to be a genius. But I don't want to leave our left-minded friends out, because they're focused. So just as the right is designed to be receptive, the left, like receptivity for the right, focus for the left, and I would know, because Naraya Fox, so my colleague, fellow analyst, who I'm co-hosting with on the Raw TV platform, it's been I think 4.5 years now. She's one of the only people in my life that I talk to every day. And it has been so powerful in my deconditioning process, but also in my educational process, and being able to see just how different we are in that way. But at the same time, how important it is for both of us to be surrounded by forces that are nourishing. So the next place that I want to go, and I would say that out of this entire presentation, out of all the slides, this one is the one that is most poignant for me, because kind of in reference to the closing out of my Cross of Eden cycle. Look, I am born in the quarter of duality. You can see here I have my little body graph, and all of those activations, or all of the activations that I have in the quarter of duality. I think I have a total of 11 activations. So purpose fulfilled through bonding. Bonding, relationships. Relationships are literally the most important thing in my life. And the way that I learn about myself is actually through my relating. And one of the biggest things that I help others with is relating. And the single most important lesson that I've learned, and it was so succinct in this quote by Tori Leto, I can promise you that anytime you are desperate to be chosen, it's a deep calling to choose yourself. And so, yeah, I mean, ultimately, if our ability to love ourselves and to value who we are depends on being recognized by another, we can perpetuate a painful, vicious cycle that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of exile and exclusion. And I mean, that was in my own words. And I mean, maybe on some level, it's a little bit dramatic, but I was really shown that in a, I mean, yes, in a literal way, but the deeper lesson was a metaphorical lesson. And I was keeping myself bound up in a prison of my own making. We don't have to do that. And so you can see I've got this lemon here, which is symbolic for the bitterness that is our signpost as projectors when we're out of alignment, and how we can put so much value, so much emphasis on what others think about us, and if other people are loving us and choosing us and inviting us and all of these things, that all of that stuff, it's poison to our auric frequency. In all of the ways that we can glow, it just dims our light, and we can really be trapped in the darkness. We don't need to be trapped in that darkness. So along with these revelations that have truly, truly set me free, all of these recognitions of behaviors that I've had that are so subliminal, and yet so powerful, that understanding the things that I would accuse others of doing, distancing themselves, for example, no, I was pushing them away with my own behavior, my own pain and bitterness and expectations and responsibility that I was putting on them to choose me because I wouldn't choose myself. So I mean, it's big. It's not something that is necessarily going to be a one and done light bulb moment, but for us as projectors, especially, just so powerful. And so with that, I've been really also exploring this whole concept of momentum and what we call the movie. So each and every one of us, we've got a trajectory in life, and you see there's a little limousine there, and just above the limousine on the left, there's this yellow diamond with some lines and shapes. Well, that is what we call the magnetic monopole, and it's technically the driver of our life. It sits in the G center, the identity, love, and direction. That's its function, that yellow diamond, which may or may not be colored in your body graph. But, you know, we've got this binary consciousness, this personality that rides around in this vehicle, the personality and the design, and yet neither of them are the driver. And yet the vehicle, our form, our body, it has its own its own path in life. That's why in human design, they often say the body is the life, follow the form. And so what happens when we use our awareness, we wield our awareness, we invest our awareness in different ways? What kind of momentum does it create? And how does that in many ways affect what you see playing out in your life? And this is going to be something that is so unique to each of you. But so my question to you here is, what momentum is being created as a result of the way you invest your awareness and nourish your aura moment by moment, day by day? So are you stewing in bitterness? Does it feel like you're pushing a boulder uphill? Or are you investing your energy, your awareness, your life force into the things that light you up and not really giving any F's about how other people, how much they love you or think, just getting caught up in all of the external? How does that make you a downhill skier, able to just, make your way down without that resistance? So this is really an invitation to start observing how the investment of your awareness fuels either the momentum of resistance or the momentum of ease. And so we've got this conditioning dilemma, what I call movie madness, so that movie of our life. So as opposed to our sacral friends, generators and manifesting generators, whose existential question is, who am I? Our question as projectors is, who are you? We are here for the other. And yet we can get so caught up in what we see out there, so caught up in what we're taking in without awareness, so caught up in who we think we must be, so caught up in trying to engineer the recognition and success we think we want or need, that we lose ourselves. We can actually get so far away from who we are in trying to be everything that we think we should be so that we get what we think we want. So part of this dilemma is that out of all the types, we projectors are designed to be conditioned. Conditioning in and of itself isn't bad. So what's colored in our design is nature. It's nature, it's fixed, it's reliable, it's always on, never changing. But what's open in us, what is white, not colored in, is very flexible. It's always going to be dependent on whether it's another person, whether it is the transit field. But we are, just as we're uniquely conditioned to broadcast who we are, we're also uniquely conditioned to take life in. This is our wisdom potential. And it's through what we're taking in that we can actually guide the other most effectively. But we can't do that effectively without awareness. So I laugh sometimes when I hear people talking about being empaths or highly sensitive person, because at the end of the day, we are all, and this is all types, not just projectors, but we're all uniquely configured to be empathic in our own way. We can all have sensitivity, deep sensitivity in different ways. So for us as projectors, because so much of our guidance, our ability to guide the correct others with obviously mutual recognition and invitation, because it depends so much on conditioning, it's just like, how do we approach that? And so whether your open centers or whether your bridging gates are where you're designed to be most deeply conditioned. Okay, and so you can see here that we've got single definition where all the centers, so on the most left example, you've got the splenic center connected to the throat. So both centers in the design are linked in one continuous flow. And then if you go one over to the right, we've got a split design where there are two separate areas of definition that are not connected. Then next to that, triple split, so 3 different areas of definition, and then the quadruple split with 4 different areas of definition. So if you're a single definition or you're a triple split, the open centers will be your greatest conditioning. And then if you're a split or a quadruple split, then the bridging gates are going to, in terms of the hierarchy, the centers are still important, but the mind is going to be very concerned with those places that bridge that bridge those islands of definition together. And so my greatest guidance for you today with this video is all about, as part of your mastery and part of this nourishment of your craft as a projector, is really learning how to be a screen and not a sponge. Does this mean this is not about spiritual bypassing or condoning things that are toxic? This is just about really starting to become aware of the way that taking in conditioning without awareness can take us far from the way that we're designed to move through life with ease, far from making decisions we can trust. It puts pressure on us to move into action from the wrong place. So that's what I mean. It's just really about becoming more aware of what it is that we're taking in and not allowing that to be the boss of us anymore, not allowing that to hijack our decisions, and yet be able to really extract and almost like squeezing that, you got the sponge, squeeze out that sponge, and what a value actually is in that without you having to become ill or bitter, hopefully, with all of that. So interestingly, this slide was created even before I knew about Human Design Mastery, Lavina's new course, which is ultimately about doing business as yourself. So I thought that the timing and even the coloring, everything was so impeccably aligned. And so what you see here is on the left is my body graph, and then on the right is also my body graph, but all of those places that are colored in with that, I guess it's a bit of an indigo color, or dark, like a royal blue purple, that's all of my openness, what I'm here to become wise about. And at the bottom in the middle, it's something that I recently posted as a story and a reel on social media, I think both on my Facebook and my Instagram. It was an animated, I'm experimenting with animation. And it was something that I created about just who we are, that no one is you, and that is your superpower. So how are we able to, in terms of creating momentum, so this is something that I've been experimenting with personally. And this is not something that is taught in human design, but when it comes to awareness and it comes to deconditioning, I mean, you're on your own. And you're going to have to find your own unique way that speaks to you. Something that I found really helpful, kind of like an anchor, is using, like being able to really lean into these kind of fundamental truths of who I am, and also my wisdom potential, like investing my awareness in that way. And so a really simple example of that is, I mean, as projectors, we really are here to be noticed effortlessly by the right others. So it's kind of like using that even to just reminding myself, affirming that truth. Melanie, you don't need to try. The right people always see you in the right timing. Or when it comes to just even the way that my life force flows through me, and that I have such powerful intuition, and that the right people in my life, they adore me for my ability to see down into the core of things. And basically just reminding myself of all of the things that are truly true about me. Because yes, while we are here for the other, if we don't know what we are here to be specifically recognized for, and for me, it's really about helping people to repattern behavior that's been dysfunctional. And not to say, look, I can't be the pot calling the kettle black. A lot of it too, my relationships have also been mirrors for me to see my own dysfunctional behaviors that have kept me from moving towards a safer future. And I mean, it's like beyond a shadow of a doubt, the right people for me to guide are those who do come in and ask me for guidance about that. What do I need to look at? What do I need to change in order to move forward in my life in a way that's safe, in a way that's healthy, in a way that's aligned? So for me to have awareness of that, just as it's important for me to have awareness about the things that I'm here to be wise about, it's like I can also remind myself with my undefined heart center, you're here to know your worth, Melanie. And you don't need to try so hard. You don't need to prove yourself. Have I mastered that 100%? Absolutely not. You know, it's like a total work in progress. Here to be wise about other people's concepts, here to be wise about pressure. So just reminding myself things that are true about who I am by design, but also about what I'm here to be wise about, and almost like giving myself a pep talk about those things. And they help not only in terms of like putting my awareness in the right place, instead of being super scattered and being present to things that are literally useless to me, this helps to kind of like consolidate and keep things dialed in. So something also that's really important is that recognition from others is meant to be specific, not generic. And so it's so different. For example, like, have you noticed, if you're a projector watching this, how different it feels to get some, I don't know, kind of generic invitation. You open an email and it's something that's just kind of casting a wide net. And it's not to say that you might not receive something. You might receive something like that and it's totally aligned, but there's something to be said when somebody reaches out, whether it's by email, by phone, by text, however, they contact you and they're like, hey, I saw this thing and it's so right up your alley. I had to talk to you about it. Do you want to check it out? Or I'm doing this thing and I'd love nobody other than you. Like, you are the one that I want to be by my side for this thing. Or I was taking a walk the other day and I was struggling with a problem and you popped into my head and I just knew that I needed to connect. Can you help me with this thing? So it's so different when there's that specific recognition, but specific recognition also in terms of what is actually us. So for example, if somebody says to me, wow, Melanie, you just always know what to say, or wow, Melanie, you always see through the bullshit, or oops, I hope YouTube doesn't flag that, or, you know, just things about my unique seeing, or ways in which I can really kind of come to the rescue at the right time. That stuff that is really, it's not just flattery because someone wants to get something from me. And it has been a huge part of my process because, you know full well, as a projector, if somebody tells you what a hard worker you are, it's like such a joke, because it doesn't mean that we can't be amazing at what we do, but also what can happen, because genetically we are so drawn to living out what we're not, who we're not, especially for those of us with, projectors, we all have an undefined sacral center. We have a hard time knowing when enough is enough. We get so overzealous about things, and we're here to be really wise about that, wise about our energy management. So, it's not about necessarily, giving someone dagger eyes if they say something like that, but it's like, even without human design knowledge, knowing anything about the lingo, true recognition can be demonstrated by others in a way that we know that they see us. And it's not just because we've been this trained seal. It's not because we've been going through these motions to try and be who we think that they want us to be, but they really, really see us. So a lot of our process too is not only to know what we're here to be recognized for, but also to learn how to recognize when we are being recognized correctly by the other. So between that and then kind of using these anchors, the truth of who we are, and also leaning into this wisdom potential, like, yeah, Melanie, you don't need to go till you drop. You are here to be wise about the way that you use your energy. And even when it comes to the undefined solar plexus, struggling to deal with, sometimes certain truths, it could be a lot more comfortable to be nice, don't rock the boat, sweep it under the rug. So just reminding myself, you know what, you have the ability to appropriately confront truths. It's just about waiting for right timing. These little ways by design that we can give ourselves these pep talks that also allow us to invest our awareness in our process in ways that serve us, and at the end of the day, manage to actually be more valuable to others as well. So I've really been working a lot with this whole concept of the macro. So the macrocosmic, which is always about this larger framework that can be a situation that is really obnoxious. So you see this little lemon slice here with this, I call it a petulant child. So it doesn't really matter your gender. As projectors, we can all be petulant children at times, especially when we don't feel like we're getting what we think we want, when we feel like we're not loved or seen or recognized or invited and all of that, and throw ourselves this pity party. And while, it's fair to say that there are certain situations that have nothing to do with us, things that just happen in life that can be very bitterness inducing. But how are we managing our energy? Where is our point of power? So there's that macrocosmic larger framework that could be a very bitter situation. It could have to do with your family. It could have to do with your relationship, like a love relationship, a friendship, a living situation, money, all of the above. I mean, goodness knows, people go through, they have dumpster fires all the time in their lives. Like, it happens. We can be navigating some really, really treacherous stuff. But at the end of the day, how are we managing our energy? And are we dialed into our point of power or not? How are we investing our awareness? What is the momentum that is being created? So what is unhelpful, as you can see on the left, mental engineering. So how, who, what, when, really focusing on how can I fix this larger framework, and then initiating things to try to fix it, because we're so uncomfortable with that bitterness that literally all of our energy is being funneled into that. So conversely, what could be more helpful is this aligned action over time, kind of like braces, where you can't get an instant beautiful smile, but if you apply pressure in a really specific way for a certain amount of time, you will eventually have a beautiful set of teeth. So strategy and authority, I mean, it's so simple, and yet at the same time, that is that way in which to dial into your point of power in the microcosm. And so at the bottom of the bottom right, I've got this gear, like these two gears, that's working with the larger framework versus the day-to-day. And so when you can just put that macro framework, that larger framework, into the background, so there's that little ghost, so just put it into the background, not the priority, and that the foreground, you make it literally your business to work with your strategy and authority. And you can see here in the middle of the circles, those two concentric circles here, there's my little body graph, and then under it, I put all of the projector authorities. So whether you're emotional, whether you're splenic, whether you're an ego projector, whether you're self-projected projector or a mental projector, I mean, we all have our genetic strategy to be able to use our energy moment by moment, day by day, in ways that allow that larger framework to shift in its own timing. So just bringing things back to the concept of the way that we invest our awareness. Are you so obsessed with that larger framework that you are completely missing out on your point of power in the now? Are you so invested in that larger framework that you're just spinning your wheels, creating momentum that leads to resistance, instead of being that downhill skier, being able to slalom down the slope with agility and grace? And so I love this slide too, haunted no more. And I mean, this is just kind of a big revelation for me. And I love the analogy of the mechanic in the garage. I'm a 5'1", stranger of consequence, and I'm here to fix, get under the hood, like soul doctor. And yet, I mean, the truth is, mechanics don't cry when people don't go to their garage. I mean, I'm sure they love having business, and yes, you require a certain amount of income to be able to stay in business, but it's not personal. It's not personal. And, there's so many things that factor into that. But it's important to understand that your guidance and solutions aren't for everyone. And that there could be a lot of things that you have learned, that you've mastered, that you've become aware about that have immense value. But they might have immense value for some people and not others. And so that's why I wrote one person's trash is another person's treasure. And I mean, sadly but true, I think a lot of us projectors have really grown to understand that sometimes the people that are least inclined to be receptive to what we have to share are our family, the people closest to us. So that's why I can't be a prophet in your own backyard. A lot of the times it's because those are just not the people that we are meant to share our wisdom with, to share our solutions with, to share our mastery with. So this whole concept of rejection, and something I want to be really clear about here, sometimes rejection is, like real. Sometimes it's real and sometimes it's perceived. But in all of the healing work that I've done over the last, officially 16 years of practice, is that when it comes to our awareness, it's like it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if you were really rejected by somebody or if you perceive that you were rejected by them. But what is just kind of paramount is that oftentimes, and I can say this with, obviously with my undefined ajna, I can't be mentally certain about anything, but I have really learned in my own journey that sometimes when things don't work out, especially because I'm splenic, sometimes it's because I am being protected, that it is not healthy for me. Either that situation isn't healthy or that person isn't healthy for me. So it can be protection. It can also be redirection. Sometimes it's both. I'm being redirected to be protected. And I can't even tell you, I could write a book. I could write a book about that. And the crazy things that have actually even happened to me, sometimes years prior, only then years later for me to finally really get it, but get it in a really, really profound way and to appreciate it for the next time that something happens, instead of having to go through that thing again. It's like, oh, right, okay. So not to say that you should be like all happy-go-lucky when things that you really would love to work out don't work out, but sometimes there are other reasons for it. And, we're not really here to be mentally controlling our process anyways. So when you master something, when you learn something, when you develop awareness about something, keep that awareness in your back pocket, because you never know who it might serve. It might not be serving the person that you want. And I've had some incredible experiences with this where I really made it about someone. And this goes back many, many years. And where I would have this really incredible awareness about things. And I'm very lucky. Not that I necessarily took the advice at the time, but it's like, Melanie, these insights, these revelations, these breakthroughs have so much collective value. Like, you should be sharing this more publicly rather than just with me. And I know that that's part of my path. I know that's part of my purpose. It's still something that I've been working with. But just, however that can serve you, that there might be something that arises for you within a certain dynamic, within a certain context, and you feel this pressure inside of you that you need that thing to help that person, but that person is not receptive to it. First of all, don't beat yourself up about it. And also, don't throw that awareness away. Because guaranteed, puzzle pieces always find their place. So keep it in your back pocket for when that day comes. And lastly here, alignment and authenticity, it will reveal who is for you. So when you are not living your life trying to be who you're not, or trying to be who you think you should be to get the love and the recognition and the success. But when you really are operating in alignment as yourself, life will reveal to you who is for you. And it's funny because, I mean, I've experimented a lot with this. I'm all about getting messy in the experiment. And you can say to yourself, okay, I'm going to make a deal. I'm going to make a deal. Like, I want this thing, or I want this person. You know, you're all on your mind trip about like what you want to steer towards or what you want to steer away from. And you think, okay, well, if I do strategy and authority, then I'm going to get that thing. Well, I mean, maybe you might. Be careful what you wish for, seems applicable here, because honestly, you don't know what might come with that. It might work out to be beautiful, but it might not. But also, it might really not happen that way. And that's not the way that strategy and authority is meant to be approached. It's not about getting something that your mind thinks that it wants. And if you're a good person and you follow the rules, that then you should get this. And I see there are so many projectors who approach it that way. And then all they do is they just keep on creating this momentum that leads to bitterness and resistance. And then they blame human design. It was never about human design. It was about your approach to the experiment, literally distorting the knowledge to fit still into that mental paradigm. So come back to that. If it's something that you don't fully get, I can't even tell you how much of a light bulb moment that can be. So before we move on to the next slide, it's just really important to reiterate that your value doesn't decrease based on someone else's inability to see your worth. So kind of circling back to some of the stuff earlier on in today's presentation, we are really here to love and to recognize ourselves regardless of anybody else on the outside. So as we begin to wind down, one of my favorite sayings, and this is not at all from a religious place, I'm as 5'1", heretical as they come, but just this concept of building the arc and allowing the magic to unfold. So one of the biggest tenets, I guess you could say, of being a projector, this whole concept, you know, nourishing your craft, that's the whole point of this presentation. And we each have mastery in terms of the fulfillment of our purpose. And it's limitless in the sense that it might have to do with formal coaching or guidance, but for some of you, human design might just be something that you use to just, you know, to live your life from a place of alignment, but your career might not have anything to do with human design. You could have mastery in literally whatever, but if that whatever is something that is really aligned with who you are, and you nurture that and you nourish it and you pour you invest your awareness into that. These are things that are all so healthy when it comes to just building, you know, trusting that if I keep on like charging that battery in this way and I keep on building that arc. So instead of being so obsessed with what life on the outside is reflecting to you, it's like you can't base your worth on what life is showing you. It has to be, flip it around, start from inside of yourself. And the more that you nurture and nourish that, then life is able to reflect that back to you. So there might be, and of course, as a projector, there are big things in life that you're here to be invited into. Some of them have to do with a line of study or a career. Have you been invited into something, and something maybe that lights you up? Are there things that you're just really naturally good at? And there's this whole thing in terms of self-guided activity versus interactive activity. So things that you do or create for yourself versus how that then is shared with the outside world. And there's so many times, and it's interesting too, because I work with a lot of creatives and they're so concerned with the outside. I explain to them, you know, whether they're in film, whether they're in doing artistic stuff, but it's like build your portfolio, just like write your screenplays, do that stuff, and like don't care so much about pitching it to this person and that person. And it's like you are building something that when you are so dialed into that, literally giving no F's, you will be seen. It will come to you and you will have exactly what is needed for this beautiful invitation to play out. So seeing this nourishment of your craft as investment and really allowing aligned action over time to work for you. So instead of being super invested in that larger framework that your mind thinks that it has to fix for you to be okay, if you just put one foot in front of the other by design, see what magic can unfold from there. So if you enjoyed today's video and you'd like to explore more, I've got several videos on my channel that might pique your interest. There may be ones other than these, but I do have, I think it's a 90-minute video that I did all about projectors. So that's available to you. Also below that, so on the left at the bottom, push and pull, pleasure and pain of the manifestor projector relationship. I think that was the first video that I ever put out. It might be my second most popular to date. So especially if you're a projector in relationship with a manifestor or vice versa, it might be eye-opening. And then we've got some videos here that are kind of more aligned to this coming global cycle shift about radical self-responsibility, the way that we wield our energy, and then also this ability to find our oasis and to, anchor in turbulent times. So as things in the world continue to hustle and bustle and it seems like it's madness, how do we navigate that in a way that is just easier, easier for us, sweetness and ease as we move through life. So to wrap things up, just a reminder, if you're watching this when this video is published, there is a free masterclass tomorrow, Saturday, November 2nd. It's going to be 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, or 5 p.m. GMT. And you'll learn all about this new course, Human Design Mastery, that is about personal success when it comes to business. It's going to be a 3-month live and online course designed to help you align your professional life with your human design. And it starts officially on November 9th. So I think the deadline to enroll in the course is going to be November 8th. So you still have some time. And through a combination of recorded modules and also live question and answer sessions, there are also going to be these teachings that are both from Lavina and from Ra himself. So this is all going to help you apply your unique design in terms of business for business success, personal fulfillment, and financial abundance. And I was very lucky that actually leading up to me recording this, I was offered a discount code for all of my subscribers should this course be dialed in. And I mean, if you wanted kind of like a one-stop shop for all of the single most important facets and factors to slay, in business according to who you are, then I would highly recommend this. And so this discount is going to apply to the full price of the course, or there's also some payment plans. There's a 6-month and a 10-month payment plan. So I will be sure to include that link in the description box that will not only lead you to the website and further information, but also should you wish to enroll, you will be able to apply that discount code there. And so, did you enjoy this video? If so, it would be awesome if you would give it a like, share it with someone you love, even subscribe. I am a firm advocate for transcending the algorithm as a 5/1. I really don't care about subscribers or followers or any of that, but I do know that it helps to get the info out to the right people. And just know that my door is open to you if and whenever the time is right to connect. I can be found on Facebook, I can be found on Instagram, and my website is www.melaniehalpert.com. So thank you so much for stopping by my channel, and until next time, take care.